You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Never here from Drakewing Gaming. It's 70 Mile toward the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Beasts of the Thorns. So let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm Chan, you were up, and let's go. Alrighty. There was a growing number of radicalized young people who had never been outside the Outlands, but had fantasies about the glorious past and of the magical creatures. That's when the Dullahan appeared, and the rumors of dragons appeared. This is no coincidence. Someone is trying to wrench the pressure valve of this community. Don't we have an autonomous government? The dragons are the spiritual leaders of the demons, but they care less and less about the mundane world. The Autonomous Council is just a place for the clans to fight for their interests and won't be able to do much. Yet you see, parties, gatherings, festivals, endless feasts, no one is thinking about the future, only enjoying themselves. Lucas smacked his lips and turned his attention back to me. How many other people know you're not a Dullahan? My friends, Chris as well as Amor, Professor Malachite, Dean Ostrom. The fact that Ostrom knows means that the higher-ups in the school know too. Good. Spread the word about this. The more people know you're not Dullahan, the less trouble everyone will be in. I didn't realize that someone really wanted to use Dullahan as a killing weapon. I got a shiver. Lucas's ear twitched, probably sensing my fear. Don't mind too much. Someone else will take care of these things. At least Ostrom would. He interrupted his mumbling to check his cell phone text messages. Well, Malachite still hasn't been able to deal with you, so I think you should just go home. By the way, I'm sure his next thing will help you. Lucas enters a series of codes into the screen of a large white machine. It opens up a thermopod. The pod is filled with alchemy gas, and when the gas clears, there's a somewhat gruesome sight inside. Inside the clear glass jar floats a lion's head. This is the remnant of a chimera after a surgery, where he integrated his body into a humanoid form. Hence this extra head became unnecessary. Preserved well in the liquid from the thistle bird, all functions are intact. I was hoping to get my hands on a doppelgänger, a shapeshifter that can transform into your original head, but sadly they are extinct in the country, and this one is the best I can offer. I looked closely at the skull. It is quite handsome, but in my heart of hearts I was very much against it. I was expecting a humanoid skull. I can't seem to recognize that I'm a demon deep down. Lucas closed the thermostat compartment and locked the code. Right now it's not working and it needs some adjustments. However, this is the first time that head grafting has been done in a different race. So even if the grafting is completed, the treatment will have to be followed up. It can be discontinued at any time if you are not satisfied. I want the head I originally had. I can understand. Human beings are visual creatures. They rely on their faces to recognize individuals and to communicate. Losing your head is like losing your personality and self-identity. The later you start adapting to the new head, the harder it will be for you to adapt. We'll talk about mimicry when you do. You mean a way to disguise yourself as a human? Yes, it's very convenient for us. That's enough for today. I have to start rushing to get his head adjusted, so I can't keep you company. At the end of his speech, he went to work worriedly. Riding down the elevator, the earlier chaos had subsided and was replaced by more guards. 6 black-clad guards blocked the front door. My friends were not allowed to enter at the door. Amor saw me first and waved. We walked towards them. What happened? We weren't like this yesterday. Second now. Coffee time. Malachite's research labs have been robbed. Amor took a breath. That's impossible. This is the Outer Realm. Demons robbing demons, which is something that shouldn't happen. And if we steal and rob each other, it shakes the foundation of trust. I originally lived on the other side, so I can't tell, but Amor, you have also lived on the other side since you were a child, haven't you? My grandmother once lived abroad. Older people have better memories, but... Chris surveys the perimeter. It's like there's something different. I can't put my finger on it. It's as if the lockdown of the administration building didn't affect anyone. Classes went on, club activities were held. There's nothing we can do about that anyway. It's hard enough to live our own lives. Agreed. I had a meeting with my professor this morning, and we out-of-staters are not in a very good place. What do you mean? I'm in a biological sciences department with limited outlets, and it's hard to get a good job without referrals. My professor suggested that I try out the Wild Hunt Fraternity. and that I might be able to attract a recommendation if I did well in big game hunting. I don't know if it was a coincidence or something else, but there was a sense of options being eroded away, and all the winds were blowing in my favor to join the wild hunt. But it has to be said that we out-of-towners really don't have much of a choice. I still have student loans, and if I don't get a good-paying job, I'll be eaten up by interest. I pat Chris on the shoulder. Go check it out before you decide. Until then, eat. You can't fight if you're hungry. So we went to a restaurant and bought sandwiches and coffee. I think it's because of me that my friends are now eating at a significantly shorter time. But I still want everyone to be able to sit down and relax after their lunch break and eat something nice. I'm afraid there will be even less time for that when we start classes, so I especially value the time we have together. Once we had a quick lunch, we started looking for the Wild Hunt Fraternity house. Although I knew that the house was at the entrance to the wooded area on the north side of the campus, I didn't realize that it was such a long stretch of forest. A short distance away from the other clusters of buildings, a neatly trimmed lawn bordered the edge of the forest. The fraternity house stood out against the dark green of the woods. It looked like a slightly aged historical building, but it was well maintained. Such a house didn't seem like a typical fraternity house. As we approached the polished ebony door, we noticed there was no doorbell, but there was an old-fashioned visitor's knocker, cast in the shape of a wolf howling at the moon. Below it was an embossed line of gold text. Bound to hunt the sun and the moon. Amor gazed at the words. This would be a reference to the story of the twin wolves of the mythological era. Yep, Hadean skull. Not bad for a historical fraternity. Then he pulled the metal chain of the doorbell. A melody similar to that of a music box came from inside the room. Then the door unlocked with a click, and the crack opened slightly, signaling that we were free to enter. I pushed open the front door only to see a raised arcade. Outside, daylight pours through a skylight onto the wooden floor, and a big, burly cougar walks towards us, telling us that Ostrom was waiting for us on the second floor in the room at the end of the hallway on the left. I walked up the stairs to Ostrom's room as I was told, and heard the noise echoing far down the arcade. I knocked on the door at the end of the hallway and pushed it open to see Ostrom tapping on a computer keyboard behind a large stack of folders. Ah, welcome to our lair. I hope you're hungry, said he, handing over a piece of dried meat. We already ate. Since eating Ostrom's hospitality steak yesterday, Chris seems determined not to accept Ostrom's food anymore. I'm so jealous. I'm still tied up in all this paperwork. I'm probably going to have jerky for lunch today. I used to be able to order delivery from a restaurant, but since I found out last year that I'm the only one who can order delivery, I've been afraid to do so. Why? The restaurants are all reluctant to take my money. I don't know if it's administration or trying to curry favor with the Ostrom family. It feels oddly strange. I really am not someone important deserving of this treatment. I wish the attention on me would lessen. Too much hassle. If it were me, I'd definitely indulge in all of the free food. That's the kind of spirit I admire. Well, you've come to visit the Brotherhood House, haven't you? It's not too late, so I'm going to show you some great stuff. Ostrom puts aside the mountain of paperwork and takes us on a personal tour of the Brotherhood House. I do believe there is a hyena who appears to be a secretary in the room just now, but Ostrom assigns no work to him at all. It's more of a museum than a fraternity house, with several rooms displaying trophies. The Wild Hunt did hunt people in the olden days. Jewelry, artifacts, and artifacts looted from the other side fill one of the rooms. The thought that there might be a human skull in here somewhere made me break out into a cold sweat. Turning to the other room, however, most of the exhibits were removed, except for the explanatory plaques, which dealt with other demons that had been hunted. In ancient times, magical creatures hunted each other, and the Wild Hunt was a hunting organization made up primarily of canines, or more accurately, wolves. As times have changed, the Wild Hunt has become more diverse and open to all races. Most of the trophies have been returned to the descendants of the hunted, but we keep this exhibit as a reminder of how we went from barbarism to civilization. Chris and Amor read those trophy descriptions with a complicated look on their faces. This room was closed for a while, and it wasn't until I became president that it was reopened. Every time I come here, I can't help but think about what we would be like now if the demons hadn't hunted each other and caused the extinction of so many civilizations. But sadly, there are no ifs in history. The mutual hunting of magical creatures led to a decline that ultimately put the mutual hunting of magical creatures and humans on the downside. And even with the intervention of the dragons, we were only able to retreat to a corner and build our own sanctuary. This is also the purpose of the founding of the Brotherhood. We want to dedicate ourselves to remembering history and promoting the exchange and unity of magical creatures. Therefore, it would mean a great deal to me if you, as demons on the other side, could join the Brotherhood. You are the demons that know humanity the best, and I hope that one day under your leadership we can bring about a reconciliation between humans and demons. I looked at Ostrom incredulously. This is really ambitious. Lucas thinks that Ostrom is destroying the purpose of the fraternity, but from this point of view he's pursuing a higher purpose instead. Next, we visited the other facilities. I have to say that the entertainment side of things is quite complete. They have 2 party rooms, one of which has a dance floor and a bar. And several members who specialize in bartending are on duty during parties. The backyard near the forest actually has a dedicated pool as well as a jacuzzi, and all the barbecue equipment you need for an outdoor party. The forest on the other side of the property is quite dark from a distance. From time to time there is fog and strange bird cries. For those who prefer quiet relaxation, there are many social halls on the right side of the building, especially one called Honeywine Hall, where a constant fire burns peacefully in the hall. As it is class time, all the other places of entertainment are empty, except the hall where many of the members are reading. Next door to the hall is a library, but it is mainly a collection of historical material such as fraternity chronicles. There are many rumors about this one of which is that it is a secret room that only certain people can see. The basement of the Brotherhood has a fitness room as well as a room that offers training for big game hunting, with full rows of lockers and clean showers. The 3rd floor also has a number of guest rooms that serve as temporary overnight accommodations, and in fact several of the officers actually stay in here on a permanent basis. Finally, Ostrom takes us to a small room with little character. Inside there were paintings, trophies, and medals. We were looking around casually when suddenly Chris, who was walking in front of me, stopped and made me bump into his thick back muscles. I wondered what made him stop, and then I saw the trap we were worried about last night in front of Chris. Okay. 1 second, y'all. What time is it? Okay. I was certain in an instant that Chris would definitely be joining the wild hunt. This is Nud Baskerville, the 189th president. When a blizzard arrived early in the fall hunt due to a weather anomaly, he gave up competing for best hunter of the year in order to save his partner and fraternity members from being trapped in the extreme blizzard. His patroller, Leo Abramovic, thus gifted him the family heirloom Snow Lion's Tooth Necklace, an event that led to the reconciliation of the cat magical creatures and the canine magical creatures. The dog in the photo sported the ear cropping trend from 20 years ago, looking cheerful and optimistic. Chris stared at the photo intently. Subconsciously, he touched the tooth necklace hanging on his chest. I nudged his arm, and he reflexively grasped my hand. Then I heard him whisper almost inaudibly, "I'm sorry." That's also the first time I found Ostrom so detestable. After the tour, the 3 of us rested in a room. Ostrom went off to do other things on his own, and Chris buried his face in his hands. I could feel him fighting a battle, but eventually he would join in. Finally, his suppressed, agonized voice escaped from between his palms. I never expected to find him in this form. I had no expectations. I was sure that in time I would get over it, but I realized when I was in front of the photo that I had been fooling myself. His voice cracked. I'd never seen Nud in his magical form, but I don't remember much about him even in his human form. He hasn't been around much since I can remember. Chris was pretty much raised by his mother alone, and yet his death devastated them both. Someone had to do something. Wait for Chris to make a decision? Oh, this is an important decision. Okay. And I'm going to pause it right there, y'all. Alright, y'all let me know in the comments which one you want me to do. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Before I go, I'm going to give a quick shout out to our lovely bronze tier patrons. Thank you all for all I do for the channel. We greatly appreciate your support. Thank you to our silver tier patron, Cade Silverman. Thank you for going above and beyond. It's greatly appreciated. And thanks to our 2 gold tier patrons, Zeke and Toby. Y'all are awesome. We love you. Thank you for subbing to Ultimate Tier. Anyway, if y'all want to get your names in the credits, get access to all of our Not Safe for Work contents as little as $5. Alrighty, I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!